I'm not gonna lie, this is a really hard video for me to make, and while I'm really bummed that I needed to make a decision like this, I do think it's super important to talk about it because there really is a valuable lesson that you can take away from what honestly feels like a really big failure on my part. So here's what happened. I do want to give you the complete behind the scenes here
Really amped about this episode. This is
of
a
what
really
went
good-
wrong exactly, what I've decided to do and why, and how you can apply what I had to learn the hard way to your business so you can be even more successful in the end. So here's what happened, right? In addition to this YouTube channel, I decided a few years back to also start a podcast
All right, welcome back to the show.
where I just talk about a lot of the same topics that I talk about here, but on the podcast, I could go a little longer and be more personal and even have on expert guests to fill in some of my blind spots so I would be able to bring even more value to you guys that way. But as any business expert will tell you, you gotta know your numbers. They're always gonna tell you what to do. The only catch is you have to listen to them. And honestly, the numbers there weren't even terrible, right? When you look at all my episodes in the podcast and all my download numbers, each episode currently gets an average of 743 downloads. And here's the thing, I would be totally happy to create a podcast episode that would reach and be able to help that many listeners any day of the week. But where it gets a little trickier is when you take a look at all the hours and the bandwidth that would take, not just for me to record an episode, but for my team to create all the behind the scenes aspects of these episodes. So all said and done, it would take me about an hour to record it, another hour to write the email that I'd send out about it, about 4 hours for my editor to finalize the audio, and then there were the social posts, right? So my team would create these audiogram files and they'd schedule them out on Instagram, which was another couple hours of work, plus another hour for my team to schedule the episode to go live and the email to go out to my list, letting them know about it. And all in all here, we're talking about 9 working hours for me and my team to reach 743 people, which works out to 82 people per hour spent on podcasting. And on the face of it, that would be completely worth my time if I didn't have this YouTube channel. So let's dive into those numbers. So when you take into account my 107 videos I have so far, they get an overall average of 58,878 views per video. And between my team and I, we spend roughly 15 hours per video, which means for every hour spent there, we're able to reach 3,925 people. So when you look at the numbers, an hour spent on creating content for YouTube gets over 47 times the results as an hour spent on the podcast. So what I'd been doing is making the classic business mistake of confusing activity with real action. So it honestly felt like we were accomplishing something big just because this activity of creating the podcast was taking up so much of our time. So I've decided to pull the plug on my podcast as well as on a lot of the activities promoting the podcast that were keeping us so busy over on Instagram. So between creating all those posts, my team scheduling them, me checking them, and finding mistakes sometimes that had to be corrected, it ate up, not just a lot of time, but attention and focus, all for pretty miniature results compared to what I get right here on YouTube. Thanks, guys. And when I finally looked at those numbers, it's just a complete no-brainer. So I'm not calling the podcast a failure, right? It was something that I owed to myself and to my business to absolutely explore and give a fair shot to. My mistake and my big failure here was that it took me over 2.5 years to come to this conclusion when the writing was on the wall probably about a year into it. But I do want to be super clear about this part. I am in no way saying that a podcast or a good Instagram strategy isn't or can't be valuable to a business. I happen to love podcasting as a content marketing play, and Instagram can be huge for the right business. But for me, those things just had to take a back seat to something else that I could be doing instead. And this is one of those cases where it'd be so easy to tell myself, but I've already put so much into this, you can't quit now. But the truth is, we as business owners need to prioritize and make tough calls like this all the time. right? Just because you've already sunk a lot of time and money into any given marketing plan or a content strategy, even if it's profitable, doesn't necessarily mean you should continue with it if something else you're doing is proving to be more impactful or more profitable, and you know that if you doubled down there, you'd go even farther. So that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. So the time that me and my team were spending on the podcast is now just going to be reallocated to bring you guys even better videos, more videos right here on this channel. And the purpose of me making this video is not just to make that announcement. I'm actually sharing this because there's a really important takeaway in all of this for you as well. So I really want to challenge you now to think of any activity that you're doing in your own business right now that isn't getting the kinds of results that you want, right? Maybe you're just stuck in that rut and you're just keeping it going, you're spinning your wheels because you're used to doing it that way, or maybe you're falling prey to that all too common sunk cost theory where you hate the idea of quitting something that you've already put so much into. So if you have something like that in your business, my challenge to you is this. I just want you to think really hard if there's something else in your business that's working better, that if you went really hard in that direction, you could see even greater success. Because as much as it sucks sometimes when something isn't working, the best thing you can do is just shake that Etch-a-Sketch and try something new, or at least change your, tactic to see if you can get better results some other way. Because I'm here to tell you that it is okay to fail at something. And it's really okay to identify your success in one area and just, divert more resources and activities to that success to just compound it over time. Because remember, everything you say yes to in your business means you have to say no to something else. The trick here is to get really smart about what you decide to say yes to. And in my opinion, there is no better place to go all in on than your website. So if you haven't signed up yet for my free masterclass, I want to show you exactly how you can create an automated client generating website that's going to work in the background every single day, bringing you new clients and a whole lot more revenue into your business. So just click right here to sign up. I can't wait to show you this stuff. See you there.